Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. So one of our brothers, he was saying that he is a traditional healer based in Zim, and he wants to give us his own confession. The confession reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? I am one of your regular listeners. I do listen to you on all of your platforms. I have decided to come to you with my own short story. So, my brother, me coming to you, it is not like I want to get a platform whereby I'll end up marketing what I do, because I believe that the powers that were given to me by God, then delivered to me by my ancestors, those powers, if they are very powerful, they are the ones that are supposed to market for themselves. I do not believe that any powerful pastor or powerful traditional healer is supposed to be on social media, because if you are powerful, people will just come to you. So the story that I have for you today, there was once a man who came to me. This man who came to me, he was a local Zimbabwean man. When he came, he told me that there in South Africa, he was in the business of robbing people and scamming people. So what he wanted from me was some powers. And yes, my brother, I gave this man a lot of powers. This man, when he had came the first time, he was alone, and he told me that he had been told by some of his village friends about me. What I do mostly is that I assist most of these boys who are gold panners, so that by the time that they would be underground mining for gold, they can be gifted with the gift that comes from God through gold. This thing of gold, Brother Nashi, you cannot just go underground and you will think that you are going to get it. You have to speak with the ancestors, the owners of the land, so that it can be given to you. So a lot of illegal gold miners used to come to me. Then I would then speak with their ancestors, so that by the time that they would have gone under the mine, they can get a lot of gold, thereby getting wealthy. And some of the men that used to come to me, they actually own gold mines. And if you are someone who has a gold claim, what I do is that I give you this other particular snake. So this creature, my brother, we can say that it is a creature of the night, and it has been used by our people for many, many years. So this snake, what it does is that it does not come out into the open a lot. It usually come out only at night. Then it will immediately return underground. And even if you think that you are going to dig up and find this snake, you must be joking. Its habitation zone, it is from 10 meters going down. It usually travels through the tunnels that are there underneath the ground. So if someone comes to me and if they tell me that they have a gold claim or they have a small gold mine, then we will perform some rituals. After speaking with their ancestors, we would go to that place where their gold claim will be. What we will do is that we will look for a place where it has not yet been dug, and that is where we will start to perform the rituals. Usually I prefer for them to start by sacrificing a chicken, maybe a goat. Some of them are willing to start sacrificing a cow. The problem is that if you start by sacrificing a cow, then from a cow, then this snake will require the blood of a human. So usually I prefer that people start by sacrificing a chicken. You can start by sacrificing a chicken once a year. Then after 5 or so years, then you will start sacrificing a goat. Then from sacrificing a goat, that is when a cow will be required instead of a goat. From there on, after you have made a lot of money, then you can sacrifice 1 or 2 of your relatives. If you follow the rules, only one of your relatives, your blood relatives, his blood will be required. But along the way, if you have broken the rules, that is when you will see that in the family a lot of sacrifices and a lot of people will start dying. But if you follow the rules that I have given to you, when we would have started doing these rituals, then you will get so rich and not a lot of human blood will be required from you. So this is the area in which I operate in. Even though I am not in the public space. But a lot of people that owns a lot of mine, they usually come to me when they have seen that in their minds gold is no longer coming out like the way that it used to. Let me tell you something about this country that is called Zim. Underneath the ground, there is a lot of gold, and the gold that is underneath this country, even if it is said that people in this country are no longer working and they will only be supported by the mining that will come out of the gold that is underneath the ground, I promise you that it can happen. That is why you see that a lot of foreign powers are trying to have control over this land, because underneath there is a lot of wealth, and it is a spiritual country. For you to access that wealth, you need to speak with the ancestors, my brother. So this man that came to me when he told me that he was working in South Africa, and there in South Africa he was into some illegal dealings, and he wanted me to strengthen him. And the first thing that he asked me, he asked me if it was possible for me to make him to be bulletproof. He didn't want to get shot. I then told him that with that kind of magic, I was not able to assist him. But the only magic that I could assist him with is if you will be talking with someone that you would want to steal from, instead of him robbing that person in a violent way, I would assist him by giving some charms that will make the victim to give him whatever that you would want from the victim. These days they call it scamming. So we started with the preparations. As we were doing the preparations, I then saw that this man, he was not operating alone. So if I was going to give him these charms, then it will mean that it will be only protection for him, but his other co-workers, they will not be able to be protected. I then sent him back to South Africa, and I told him that for these charms to work, he was supposed to go there and collect some of his colleagues, and he was supposed to bring them back, and after bringing them back, then I could assist them and to strengthen them. So he went back to South Africa. After a couple of months, I had actually forgotten about him. That was when I saw this other car, and I immediately knew that this car was from South Africa. It had a blue number plate. That was when I saw my client getting off from the car, and he told me that the men that he was with, they were from South Africa. The other one was from Mozambique. Then he told me that those were his co-workers and they were here to be strengthened. So I started with the work. When the evening came, we went to the graveyard. Each one of them had purchased a chicken, and when we went to the graveyard, everyone was holding his own chicken. When we arrived there, that was when we slaughtered the chicken, and I instructed them all to eat the chicken raw, uncooked, until it was finished. As they were eating that uncooked chicken with the feathers and everything, they started vomiting, and I told them that they were cowards because they were not going to get the powerful charms that they wanted. So they started picking up the uncooked meat that they had vomited until they were finished. But it took them hours and hours, but patiently I waited for them. When they were done eating the uncooked chicken, I then told them that each one of them had to select their own grave that they were supposed to sleep on. So they all selected their graves. As they were sleeping on those graves, what was happening, Brother Nash, is that there was a transfer of power that was going on as their souls were being buried into the stranger's grave, and the soul that once belonged to the stranger was now rising up from the grave and entering into their bodies. And the soul of the stranger was the one that was going to assist them in their work. My brother, coming here on your platform, I am not here to brag or to do anything, but I am here to warn other people. for these are the type of work that these men told me that they do in South Africa. They told me that they do that thing whereby when you are about to withdraw your money, then they will confuse you and take away your ATM card and things like that. The kind of a warning that I want to put out, Brother Nash, is that when you are about to be robbed by people who have such spiritual powers, never think that you are more intelligent than them, because it will be your spirit against the spirit of someone who died a very long time ago, and that person was then raised up from the grave. So you are never going to win. The only thing that you are supposed to do, if you are walking around, especially in places whereby it will be quite a busy place, if someone tries to speak with you, then make sure that you do not respond to the questions that will be brought to you by the person that will be trying to be very polite to you, yet they will be a stranger. Because the way that this charm works, my brother, the more that you speak with that person that will be trying to rob you without your knowledge, the more that you speak with them, the more the charms will work on you. They told me that they in South Africa, what they do is that here we call it feja. They said that even they do the same trick whereby a lot of people will be in one corner, standing in one corner, and there will be a lot of betting that will be taking place. And you as a victim, when you go past through a place where it will be a crowded place, and you will see that there are a lot of people that will be betting, if you have any money and that spirit knows that this one has money, the spirit will then seduce you to stay much longer. And the moment that you start looking and start to get interested, and you will think that people are winning, but people will not be winning anything, and at the end of the day, you are going to become the victim. And if you have a large amount of money, these people, the way that I sorted them out, when these men were about to travel back to South Africa, I then strengthened them and I gave them the heads that once belonged to vouchers. We all know the way that a voucher survives. A voucher is even followed by a lion, because a voucher will always know where the next meal will be. So these men, after I had given them these heads that once belonged to vouchers, if they are still alive there in South Africa, and if they are still in that business of stealing from people, when they go to bed, the way that I instructed them is that they have to place that head of a voucher underneath their pillow, and they will have a dream. The head of that voucher will show them where the next meal will be. And in this case, the next meal, it will not be a dead animal, but it will be the one who is going to withdraw huge sums of money. I am sure that a lot of people have wondered as to how they get robbed, because one day you wake up and you go to town and you withdraw a large sum of money. Then out of nowhere, you see that you have been surrounded by people that are robbing you. In most cases, those people would have already seen you in their dreams if they have ever visited a traditional healer, so as to strengthen them in their business of robbing other people. So the only advice that I want to give people, my brother, is that if anyone approaches you, no matter how polite they are, never try to have a conversation with a stranger, because the moment that you start to have a conversation with a stranger, that is when that spirit or the soul of that man or the woman that I raised up from the dead will start to connect with your soul, and you will not even realize what will happen next. This thing, my brother, it doesn't matter if you are Chinese, white, or African. These powers are for real. And if you are in that situation whereby you come face to face with a man who has been strengthened for him to become a thief, no matter how intelligent you are, at the end of the day, you will wonder as to how the man stole your ATM card or your ATM pin. Because these men, yes, they use physical tactics, but on the other side, there is a spiritual tactic that you, as a normal human being that has not been strengthened, you will never be able to conquer that spirit. I am very interested with this thing of having bulletproof cover, spiritual bulletproof cover. If I had those powers, I was going to assist a lot of people. Dear listeners, right there was a message that we received. Then I had to ask one of our admins to give us a translation, and it was quite a very difficult message to translate, but we tried as much as we could to give you this translation. Let us meet again in the following episode.